Hello everyone, so we are back with another video. Today we'll be focusing more on exam style related questions, specifically on seeking funds and home loans. So we'll be starting with seeking funds. So this is the first example that we'll be tackling today. It reads as follows: 10, 6, 15 annual payment of 2,500 starting in 6 months from now. When the interest rate is 16% per annum compounded quarterly, calculate the amount at the end of the period. So in this example, the child is going to make 2,500 each month starting after 6 months from now. So they want us to calculate the amount at the end of 15 semi-annual payments. So I'm just going to illustrate how we're going to go with this example. But the first thing I need to start by showing you is that if you can look closely here, this interest rate is compounded quarterly, but here we are working with semi-annual payments. So we first need to convert this interest rate into semi-annual payment. We cannot just work with it just like this, because this way it's in quarterly. So we must first start to convert it into semi-annual payment. So this is what we're just going to do. We're going to say 1 plus So this is actually the formula that we will be using to convert. If they give us the formula that it's in quarterly or compounded quarterly, and then we are working with semi-annual payments, we must first start by converting it into the payments that we'll be working. Same as if these payments were made monthly, we will first start by converting this interest rate into monthly basis so that we can be able to win, because we cannot just take it as it is and then we get from it. So we're just going to substitute what we have here. So this I4, it denotes this interest rate. This is exactly the same as we did in the previous video. So this is our 16%. We're going to have 0.16 divided by 4, because it's compounded what? Quarterly. Remember, we multiply by 4, and then when we convert, and then we want to convert it into the interest rate that compounds semi-annually. So this is the formula, semi-annual. We divide by 2, then we also multiply by 2. So here, this is what we're trying to actually find. We're trying to find the interest that we must use, or we must work with it so that we can be able to solve this problem. So let me just plug this thing to my calculator so that I can be able to calculate. So this is what I end up with after making all the necessary calculations. 0.0816. So I just plugged this into my calculator, and then the value that I got here, I made the square root so that I can cancel this 2. Remember, square root cancels the exponent 2. So after making the square root, I took this one into this side. Or let me just quickly illustrate what I've just done so that you can be able to follow. So what I got here was 1.164. So on this side it's 1.16985 blah blah blah. But when you must keep all those exponents, because remember, in mathematics we round off only on the last step or on the last answer. So here it's 1 plus 2 exponents. So I'm going to take the square root in both sides, so that I can cancel this 2. So after taking square root in this side, this is what I'm left with. I'm left with 1. Let me just write it here. 1.0816. Then here, this square root is going to cancel this 2 here. So after cancelling, I'm going to be left with this entire thing that's inside the bracket. So it's 1 plus I2 over 2. Then taking this one on this side, so it means I'm going to separate this one from this thing. I'm going to end up with 1.0816 minus 1. It's 0.0816 I2 This is now our interest rate that we will be using to solve this thing. Our interest rate is this amount that I just calculated. So we must be careful or read the questions so that you can be able to understand or calculating. We could know this thing as it is. To our future or present value. We must check if this thing is compounded quarterly, and then here so we must first start by converting this thing from quarterly to semi-annually. Then from here is then that we can use those formulas that I've showed you on the last videos. So reading the questions again, it says TED sinks 15 semi-annual payments of 2,500 starting in 6 months from now. While the interest rate is 16% per annum compounded quarterly, calculate the amount at the end of the period. So question is, the future value, the percent value. We're going to calculate the amount at the end of the period. The amount at the end of the period after 15 payments. So we're going to look at the future value. So I'm just going to write down the future for future. The formula for future value. Formula 1 future value is equals to R regular payments. Open bracket 1 plus IN minus 1 all divided by I. So this is the formula that I've showed you in the previous video. Key formula is calculating the future value when working with annuities, because this problem here is annuity. So I'm just going to plug my values into this formula so that I can be able to know how much is going to be for the future value after making 15 payments. So this is what we are trying to calculate. We are trying to calculate the future value after 15 semi-annual payments. So the regular payments that we are going to make, it's 2,500. This is the payment that we will be making twice a year, semi-annually. So I'm just going to substitute this amount to here, 2,500, and open bracket 1 plus, the interest rate that we just calculated, this one. We're just going to remember, usually we were going to take this thing, right? But then right now you can see this thing, it's expressed as I2 divided by 2. So we just take this thing as it is because already it was divided by 2 here. I don't know if that makes sense, but we just take this thing as it is. Then we're going to substitute here on I. So it's 1 plus 0,0816 close the bracket. Then remember, they told us how many payments? 15 payments. So we're just going to plug this 15 right here. Minus 1. Then all over. Our eyes this thing. So I'm going to reiterate this thing once more again. I will divide like 2. If you already gave it, just about 16%, while compounded semi-annually, as it is, then I can 16% divided by 2. You can pass 16% divided by F I've shown in the previous videos. But then here, the case is different because they told us the payments that are going to be made are going to be semi-annual, twice a year after 6 months. So formula interest rate in compounded quarterly. So we convert into semi-annual basis so that we can be able to work with it, because like assuming the quarterly right semi-annual we convert. So this is the formula that I've used to convert. So in place of I. So when plugging this entire thing in my calculator, I must get the total future value that I must have after making 15 semi-annual payments. Let me just quickly plug this into my calculator. So the answer that I have here is future value is 6,871,54. So this is the answer that we must end up with after making all the calculations. Let me just quickly confirm the answer inside the book. Okay, so when moving to the next question, here we were actually calculating the present value, but remember, we can also calculate here we calculate the future value, but then remember, you can still use this information to calculate what? The present value, because here I just showed you how to use this information to calculate the future value. But then if you want, or if for practicing purposes, you may use this information as it is to calculate your present value. Now I just use this example so that I can demonstrate how or I will calculate to the future value. But then if you want then calculate your present value. And then if you want to calculate the present value, the answer that you must end up with, if you want to formula present value or a question where they calculate the present value, answer was value in my film. Let me just refer from the book. So the answer that you must end up with after calculating the present value, okay, 21,191,22. So the answer was we now my film calculate the present value. So let me just explain this. And so what I'm checking if future value, there are one future value if it the present value charity in the future, charity in aluminum tree. Also, also 10 in the coming 5 years is going to be as we compare at 10 but then in the coming 5 years it's no longer going to be able to afford that bread. So in review perspective in the present value and then in the future value perspective. Something if you don't take into consideration that inflationary effect. So let's going to move to the next question. So this question is actually an exam style question. So this one is a little bit complex. So you must be able to solve this kinds of questions because during the exams. So the question reads as follows: you wish to purchase your first home. The bank will only allow bond repayments that are not greater than 30% of your net monthly salary. Your gross salary is 8,250 per month, and you have deductions of 25% per annum from your salary. The first question is, what is your net salary? Net salary can get the salary after deduct or making all the deductions. So which are the and the only difference between gross salary and net salary. Gross salary and then the net salary after maybe with the insurance company deduct. So give to the net salary. So give to we calculate. If you're with some American 8,250, the deduction salary per month, you want 25% of your salary. So we are simply just going to calculate the net salary with some after making all the necessary deductions. So I'm just going to show you the formula. It's going to be your gross salary of 8,250, and then you say 1 minus the deduction general 25%, 0.25. So the answer that you get, it will be net salary around 8,250. So your net salary is going to be 6,187.50. So charity or mutu waliona kaika potri. I said, yeah, I want to but then since apart the insurance and medical aid, I charge the water everything which I got 6,187.50. So moving to the next question, it says, what is the maximum bond repayment you can afford? And we have information about the bank will only allow bond repayment that are not greater than 30% of your net salary. If it are 30% of your net salary. So when you go to the maximum amount there, So we don't change net profit, we don't get 30% net profit or which out bank government low or particular since it class will low or particularly more than 30%. So when you got the maximum will get 30. So we are simply just going to say the net profit 6187.5 times 30%. 30% is 0.3. So let me calculate this one quickly. So change the 1,856.25 cents. So chelete or bank ikamela we keep the maximum amount or bank it will mail away, but since we also mail anything more than 30% of your net sale. So moving to the last question. So this one is a bit complex, but we're going to deal with it, I promise. So it says the bank offers a fixed bond rate of 13.5% per annum compounded monthly, important with over a period of 20 years. There is a flight that costs 15,000. Can you afford it? It's on a question I read previously. Monkey about you tell only after 20 years. When you go to the flight, if you're afraid they cost 15,000. But then a foreigner, you cannot just decide from here or no, between afford or no, something which must prove this or show this by calculations. Just right now after this. So, and also remember at the end you must decide whether this person is going to be able to afford this or this person is not going to be able to afford this plate. So let me just write the formula that we are going to use here. There is a cost. So let me just prepare. So here we're actually this is the present value of this flat. So guarantee save at this amount just calculating you have the maximum receiver for 20 years. Regard after the flat and the current value or the present value of flat right now go get 15%. Hence we are going to use the formula the present value. Formula present value, remember our error. Present value is equals to R 1 minus 1 plus R negative N. Negative, please let's clarify. Negative is very important because if you cannot put the negative, your answer is not going to be the same as you would have put the negative. So you must be careful with this thing. So I'm just going to substitute this information into this formula. So our regular payment carry calculation then any lower we are trying to calculate the present value. The regular payment is how much? 1856.25. This is the payment that we'll be making regular or monthly. Monthly we'll be making monthly. And then remember 1 forms part of the formula. 1 plus what? Then here 13.5% compounded monthly. So here you really sharp. I want to convert. I want to reduce it because again compounded monthly. But then if you give you compounded quarterly or semi-annual, you also to convert the beef because here payments are monthly. So sometimes we correspond. If you know the payments they make you a monthly, you don't even compounded monthly. In payments because make you monthly. If then you are compared to a quarterly. If your situation is so low, payments they make you a monthly and then interest rate they will compound the quarterly, then you must first convert this formula from quarterly to monthly. So this is the basic idea behind all of this. So I'm just going to continue with my example here. So it's 13.5%. Let me just take it. So I have this thing, preserve the space. Present value is 1856.25. 1 minus 1 plus 0.135. 12 multiplied by what? Remember this 12 and this 12. 12 multiplied by what? 20 years. So it's 12 multiplied by 20 years. And then all divided by what? The interest rate. Interest rate again 0.135. over 12. So when plugging this thing, let me just quickly plug this and get the final answer. So the answer that I get is 15. Let me just confirm it from the book. Yeah, it is correct. So it's 153,742,66. So this is the final answer, that the present value of his or him monthly payments that he will be making over 20 years. So the present bill after 20 years is going to be how much? 153,742 rand, 66 cents. So back to the question. Question if your flat it costs 150, it's 150. So 150,000. Can you afford it? Remember, question I get the present bill. No, I get the present bill. Can you afford it? But then since I told you that we cannot just decide from here, we must first make the necessary calculations so that we can be able to decide after we got our present bill. So from here, we can safely say, therefore, he or I can, let me just say I can afford the flat. Then why? Because my present bill or the present bill of the monthly payments that I will be making is going to be more than the cost of the flat. So we can simply just deduce what this person is going to be able to afford this flat. So I'll just so far I've done everything I could. So these are some of the examples that you must, or some of the questions that you must expect, more especially in exams, because they're not just going to test you on a simple question. So whenever you shoot a question, they are more complex. They just want to test your skills. So can you apply what you have learned during the class? So this is some of the basics, or some of the most important things that you must be careful about. I'm going to see you in the next video.